Welcome everyone. Happy Friday morning. And of course, a morning is always made better with coffee. Today, we're going to start covering the document management basics of Bluebeam Revu. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera as well, just to help with bandwidth. But no, I will be enjoying this on my side here. Oh, I turned off screen sharing instead. I apologize about that. I turned off screen sharing instead of hitting the camera. So on to the next slide. I wanted to cover as we talk about, the basics of document management with Bluebeam Revu. We have to talk about combining some PDFs, inserting, replacing, and extracting some pages. We're going to talk about auto-marking page labels, and then we're actually going to get into the compare and overlay features. Okay. And then we'll end up finishing everything up with tracking some of those revisions through our markups list and kind of see how those those comments or those revisions are marked up on these documents. Now, I did want to tell you a little bit about us. So Topcon Solutions is the retail division to Topcon Positioning Systems. We are a complete solutions provider. We do offer measuring and control hardware systems, as well as the complete office software solutions like Autodesk and Bluebeam. We are also an industry-leading training and technical support office where we do field troubleshooting of equipment. We also have local service and repair staff on hand and the widest range of everyday field supplies and accessories. Now, a little bit more about us. We are spread out. We have 13 brick and mortar locations, and we are in, we kind of service 20 states, including Washington, D.C. So we kind of have a pretty good footprint there. And the note that I also want to kind of talk about here, 180 employees. So again, we are spreading out, we're growing, right? But we're spread out across the United States. And what we're trying to do is really, of course, support everyone that we can wherever we can. Okay, and we want to, of course, be that full office to field solution, full service provider there. So again, my name is David Campbell. I am an application specialist for Topcon Solutions. I am a excuse me, a certified Bluebeam instructor, certified Bluebeam consultant, a few things like that. I kind of do a few different things, but I do a lot with Bluebeam, and I really enjoy this program. I really enjoy coming on for these webcasts and doing these presentations for all of you, and especially doing those tips and tricks that Diana called out earlier. Those are great videos that I really enjoy doing. So keep on the lookout for those, and of course, in the future, more cold brew and review. Into review here. There it is, a lot of tabs up there. And so I wanted to start out with combining PDFs. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. Now, I have a big construction set open here, but I'm going to go ahead and open up a door schedule and my reference plan here. And if I'd like to get this second floor reference plan and this door schedule into my overall construction set, there are a couple different ways that I can do this. One, we want to talk about File and Combine. So the Combine tool is, of course, when we are actually going to go ahead and combine all of these PDFs into one new separate document, okay? Now, a tip for this is if you do open these documents beforehand, it does make it quite easy to go ahead and say add open files here, and then it just brings in all of the documents, of course, and then once we say okay, it's going to go ahead and give us a new document. Now, you'll see at the bottom, some of the options that we have with this are include bookmarks. So if you did have the bookmarks, like in my construction set B here, I know I have those. So I want to go ahead and make sure that I transfer those from this document over into the new one that I am including with these two sheets here. Include file attachments, merge document properties, the layers, and then use the file name as a page label. So these are just a few settings that we can use before we go to do the actual combine of the PDF itself. So I'll say okay here, and then you'll notice it kicks out document 1 for us. Now, this is an interesting point that was brought up the other day. You'll notice that this new document that we've kind of combined here is populating with a little star off to the right-hand side of the document tab. That just means that this document needs to be saved. Okay, so it's completely separate. It's floating in Revu at this point in time, and I need to do a save as to place this onto my computer. Now, some of you are probably wondering, okay, Dave, where did those sheets go? We combined that document, but where did they go? Well, if we look in the thumbnails tab, we'll see that these documents actually applied themselves to the back of the document set, right? So what it'll do, of course, is it'll actually combine those documents based off of the order that they're in when you hit that combine documents, and then, of course, add open files or files. That's how it's going to position them. Now, this is great, of course, if you don't have something like I have here with this construction set B, and I know this door schedule goes a specific place, and I know my second floor reference plan goes a specific place in this document. The combine is great for that, of course, bringing all of those documents together. But if I want to specify where these sheets need to go, I'm probably not going to use the combine tool, right? In this case, I would most likely probably stay in my thumbnails tab, right click, and find insert pages. In this case, when I hit insert pages, now I'm going to close out a document one here. I'm not going to save that. But again, I'm going to go back to insert pages, and I can hit add open files here. Now you're going to see that it's recognizing I'm pulling these into construction set B, okay? Now, if I know I want to put these in a specific place, so maybe my second floor reference plan, I want to put this as, page, let's say, actually it's going to be a 1.2.0. So we're looking right in between these two sheets here. So I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, page 6, okay? And say this is going to be page 6. Now, in this sense, I know it's also going to bring my door schedule in. So in this case, it might be easier to go ahead and make sure that you are bringing these in one at a time, okay? Insert pages, bring them in one at a time if you do have some of the other kind of sheets that might go in this document set. Or of course, if you do have the extreme version, you look at slip sheeting. But insert pages is how we can go ahead and again, bring some of these documents in. Now you're gonna see much of the same options that I talked about in terms of combining the documents with include bookmarks, include file attachments, different things like that. We're gonna see those there as well, okay? But essentially, this is really the big part about insert pages here, is that we're going to have the capability to specify exactly where we want to put these documents. So when I say, okay, here it is, okay? Now I will, of course, need to move this door schedule down, and I'm going to place this right here, right before my door types. Actually, I'll place it right after. There we go. Now, another thing that I did want to talk about, and you notice we're kind of going in an order here, right? I've got the door schedule and I've got my second floor reference plan inserted in here right before, and you know what? I put it in the wrong spot, so I'm gonna move that back up real quick. So you'll notice that we have our sheets kind of put in place, but the problem is they came over with a number, right? 8 here. And another interesting thing that I wanted to kind of talk about was the fact that some of these have come through with, they're actually pulling their sheet name and the sheet number, okay? Now, most of the documents that you receive are probably not going to do that, right? They're probably not going to look like that right off the bat, just as these here that I just inserted don't. So one trick that I did want to show you all during this presentation is the Automark tool, or automatically creating page labels. I'm going to take a drink of my cold brew here real quick. That's so good. But I'm going to go back to create page labels. You'll find this at the top of your thumbnails panel here. And when you click on this, you'll see a couple of different ways that we can create these page labels or use that auto marking feature. You're going to see the bookmarks. So with construction set B, since I did have a bunch of bookmarks in there, I can utilize that if I trust those, in the sense of, they're going to represent this new sheet that I've added in my door schedule, which at this point in time, I probably don't, because they weren't in the original document set. So this is when I'm going to go to a page region. Now you're going to notice Bluebeam Revu loves page regions, okay? It loves to utilize this tool. We're going to see this for our hyperlinking tool, for our snapshot tool, and also, the create page labels. So in this case, what we're going to do when we tell Revu we're going to look for a page region is that we're going to hit select, and then we're going to tell it where we want it to pull this information from. So I'd go right into my title block, draw a page region around my sheet number. And then you know what? If I want to add my sheet name as well, oh, you know what? I I just deleted part of it. And let's make sure I'm going to do this one again just to go through. Select. There we go. And what you want to do if you want to add another one is you'll simply hit add here and then draw a page region around the second area that you want to look for. So I have region 1 and region 2. And if I want any kind of maybe a identifier or a dash or anything between them, I can also do that. So space and then put a little dash in there or something. And then I can say OK. Now, of course, I can also specify the page range at that point and how many of these pages do I want to do. So I'll have it run through and just do all of them for me real quick. And what you'll see is that it's going to update this page number 8 for me to its sheet name and sheet number. There it is. All right, so very simple tools in that case. And of course, like I said, the basics of drawing management, this is making it easier for a lot of different people, whoever's going to get into this document set, yourself or your other coworkers, just making it easier to navigate through that document. And then of course, making sure that that document's versions are maintained through that insert pages, or let's say the other one I needed to talk about was replace pages. So if we did get a revision, so let's say this A1.2 second floor reference plan here, if we did get a revision of this, we could use this replace pages to go ahead and find our revision and bring it in. Now in this case, I'll go ahead and grab my revision. All right, and you're going to see that it's going to remove page 6 here, which is the second floor reference plan, and replace it with this page. I say okay, and there it is. There's my revision. Now, of course, I probably would need to do that page region on it again to go ahead and have it auto-mark that document. But again, there's our replace pages. So we have that insert, we have replace, and you know what the other one I really also need to talk about is going to be the extract pages. So if I know that I want to take, let's say, my architectural set here, and I want to create a PDF set that is just architectural documents. Now I'm going down and clicking Control, which I honestly don't need to, so I'll go down here and hit Shift and then grab all of these, okay? And then I can right click, and this is where you're gonna see your extract pages right here, extract pages. So at this point, I could go ahead and extract all of these pages either as separate files, or of course, if I leave that unchecked, it would be as one complete PDF. And then do I want it to open these files after the extraction? Do I want to update my hyperlinks to relative paths? So in saying that, I'll put this on my desktop here. And if I go back to, let's say, my A.4, so I actually didn't grab all of them. Looks like I just grabbed my end ones here, but that works out a little bit anyways, because what you'll see is that all of our hyperlinks will still work with the old with the original document set. It will update all of our hyperlinks to go back to the original document set. Okay. Here's A 3.01 just to kind of prove that. And there it is. It opens up right into that construction set B. So those hyperlinks do stay, and they will give us, again, that capability to navigate back to the original document. All right, now for the one I believe that all of you have been waiting for, I'm going to go ahead and open up my second floor reference plan here, and I'm going to find my second floor reference plan, Rev 1, because I have been waiting on this all morning. But essentially, I'm going to go over now the document compare and overlay features. Had to get another drink of that cold brew. Now, I'm actually going to run through overlay pages first, And then we'll go into compare documents. And honestly, this is just my preferred way to do this. Now, the reason that I enjoy doing overlay and then compare rather than the latter, of course, is because what overlay pages does, as you can see here, is it assigns each one of these documents a colored layer. Okay, and if I go into modify here, we'll see that I can change this colored layer. I can apply a background, everything like that. But what it's going to do is it's literally going to overlay these two pages based on those colors right over the top of each other. Okay, and then what's going to happen when I say okay is we're going to be able to see all of the differences between the documents based on those colors. All right, so again, you'll notice some things like this here. There's just a line style difference or a line thickness difference, but this does give us a lot of good data. Okay. Now the reason that I prefer again to I'm going to just do a save as here real quick and put this on my desktop. But the reason that I prefer to do it this way with overlay first and then compare documents is because essentially at that point, I can use my overlay document against my original or my revision, and I would be able to see the differences. So what you're going to notice is that compare documents actually gives us revision clouds around the document in terms of what it detects as a change. The big thing is you're not going to be able to see what's under that change. So one big thing, a couple tips and tricks I wanted to give away here real quick is that one, you have a manual alignment, okay? You can either like pick points, which is picking 3 points in the drawing to essentially manually align them together, or you can use a select window. So I know, let's say that I want to just analyze this portion here or the portion of where the door wasn't clouded. I could select a window and just compare those specific portions of my job. Now, another tip that I want to give you all is under these advanced options in your compare documents. What you're going to see here, if you scroll down to the bottom of those advanced comparison options, is your markup color, your markup fill color. So like I said, it's going to put a cloud around these differences that it notices. You're also going to get to a subject, right? So what do you want to track this as when it goes into the markups list? Is it a revision? Is it a difference? You know, whatever it is, that's what you can go ahead and track it as. Now, that's of course going to play into the conversation that we're going to have shortly in terms of what our markups list looks like after we run this. But the other big options I wanted to talk about here, not really cloud. I mean, you can check mark that if you want to, but I leave this check marked obviously to give us a cloud markup where it detects those differences. This option here though, locked, I like to undo. Essentially, I like to uncheck that option just because I know that Bluebeam Revu is a little sensitive when it's essentially finding these differences. And if I notice that there are a couple clouds that really aren't differences or aren't revisions, I want to be able to go ahead and quickly delete those without having to go into the properties and unlock it and then come back out and try to delete it there. I'd rather just come in here, unlock it, and then start out and do my compare. You'll see that again here in a minute when I go through it. And then of course, what are you applying your markups to? So which document are you going to put these clouds on? Do you want it on a new copy of document A, which would be our overlay PDF, or a new copy of document B, or of course, both A and B? Now I'm just going to go with document A, and I'm going to go new copy file suffix is going to be rev1. Then I'm going to say okay, and then okay. And there we go. There's our document here off to the right side. We can zoom in. And again, this is really why I enjoy using overlay, just because, again, we can see these differences. Now, again, you'll notice it picked up this little area here. That is not a revision that I want to track. This one here, this is not a revision that I want to track. You know, just different things like that. We can go ahead and and just quickly kind of evaluate what differences were caught by the comparison tool, and then go ahead and clean some of these other items up that may be not as important. Now I'm going to drag this document over because I know it's synchronized with my other doc there. But essentially, now that we have this document with our different markups on it, now this one here, I do need to go ahead and adjust because these are two revisions, not just one. So I'm going to remove some of these control points here. All right, and there we go. So what I wanted to talk about next and kind of wrapping all of this up, bringing it all together, right, would be the actual markups list. So tracking these different markups and these different revisions. So especially when we get into a project, obviously we know there can be a lot of changes, there can be quite a few revisions. It can be hard to track which revisions were done when, which were caught, which were, fixed. Like this one here, we noticed that this obviously does not have a tag. This must not have been caught. So this is something that maybe we want to go ahead and notate. Maybe we can put in our comments. Okay. So we can say this revision was not tagged or clouded. Please make sure to add it. Now these other ones here, we could say, of course, these were all tagged. So these have been tracked. Now you'll notice one interesting thing. As these clouds are kind of placed, you'll notice it automatically gives you a date timestamp for when these clouds were placed, right? And it gives you an author name. So of course, there's a little bit of tracking there already. If we hit the date, just click on that date header, you'll notice that it'll put all of these comments, it'll group them by the date, and then it'll actually put them into ascending and descending order. So if you're trying to figure out when these revisions were placed by date, and then again, kind of going from there by whom. Now, another kind of column here, I'm trying to think of my word there, but another column that I wanted to talk about that can be very cool, especially when dealing with some of these revisions and different comments, especially through different phases of the project, would be a status, okay? Now with this status bar, we can use maybe our review status of, okay, this one has actually been rejected because this one was not tracked, whereas maybe some of these other ones are accepted because they've all been tagged and they've all been added to our revision schedule. So we can accept these, or we can go ahead and say this is in progress, or this is, instead of in progress, this might be revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, what have you. We can change these and kind of create our own custom statuses to track this information. Okay, but that's another big thing that, of course, I wanted to again wrap this all up with, was using this markups list and the data that is here to go ahead and filter down to what it is that you need to get to. Now you'll notice with 20 we do have this filter list, so I can go ahead and build down and say, you know what, I'm looking for my revisions that were made on in the past 7 days, and I want to see a status that is, let's say, rejected. So I'm going to just see this one comment, okay? Now, again, as we keep going through our project, we're going to get more revisions. Yes, you can keep using this document as either an overlay, or we can actually hide some of those clouds, push it forward to go ahead and do another overlay or compare document against a new version, right? We can use the hide all markups to go ahead and push that forward if we wanted to. But essentially, also slip sheeting is going to work as well for bringing those new revisions in and also copying those markups over to the new version. Okay. Now, well, I think that was pretty much everything I had for you guys. And I know we did it in a smooth like 30 minutes this morning, so that's awesome. It's probably my cold brew. Thanks to the cold brew here.
All right, so David has the questions slide up. If you do have any questions at this time, please go ahead and insert
Oh,
those into the questions pane. I'm going to go ahead and see if we have any questions so far. Okay, and it does appear like we have a few here, David.
mhm.
Okay, so someone had been asking, where is the Automark again?
So the Automark, you will find that under the thumbnails tab. And it's if you look next to where it says thumbnails, there should be a little, looks like a rectangle with a sun underneath it. And if you hover over it, it says create page labels. So that is the Automark feature.
Great, and thank you for that question. So there's another one that came in. Is there a way on Review to stitch together multiple plan sheets at their match lines so I can import one PDF page into my takeoff software that shows the entire project instead of importing and aligning multiple pages separately?
That is a great question. I'm thinking that one of the best ways that, I mean, it's not going to really default to doing that, no. But one of the good ways that you, or one way that you might be able to get around that is actually utilizing the snapshot tool. And if you snap to, like, let's say your match lines in your project, we would be able to essentially paste this over either, I mean, I'm pasting it into this document, obviously, but we could paste this into a new document, a new PDF file, new PDF here, whatever size that we need. And then in that point, you could pretty much just place these on and keep it going. Now, other than that, another way that I could think of to do that is probably with either hyperlinks or cropping your kind of pages down. But I think that snapshot tool might actually be a really good help for that, just in the sense that you can kind of pull those snapshots, and when you paste them over, it's Control V or right click paste, you can resize these if you need to fit some multiples onto a sheet and things like that. Obviously, you are taking down the scale a little bit on that, but I mean, if you do have a lot of your stuff already drawn into there, you will be able to utilize the full drawing. Maybe you could hyperlink between the two kind of thing, have the individual sheets going to an overall kind of sheet here or something like that. That's typically what I've seen.
Okay, great. We also have another question here. Can you overlay, say, a mechanical plan over an electrical and plumbing plan of the same area of a drawing set?
Yes, you can. Actually, that is a great way to start doing coordination within Bluebeam Revu. Yes. The big thing that I would say there is just, I mean, if it's the same area, you're fine. It's going to be the same sheet. And that's really what I wanted to kind of mention there and make sure that I do bring up is the document should be the same length. Make sure the pages kind of match, that the areas do match, because Bluebeam is going to overlay it, you know, and if you don't have sheets that match, you're going to have a lot of weird stuff.
Okay, great. And I'm not sure if perhaps you have comments on this, David, or perhaps this is something we can think about and analyze and see if we can create a topic around this in the future. But we did receive a comment. The biggest complaint my coworkers have with Bluebeam is it's really slow to open PDFs. Is there a way to open up faster, or maybe as a potential future topic, we could discuss optimizing Bluebeam?
Yes, actually, there are a few different ways that you can go around that. One would be, of course, using your file access. And in this sense, using, of course, these are recent files, so that may not work for everybody, but you'll notice that when you open up a document in Revu, you can choose to pin these files or to create a new category. And if I pin these files, it's literally just going to pin them right here into my file access, which gives them easier opening capabilities in terms of, you know, navigating to it for one, but for two, the interesting thing about this is that it's almost like caching where this document is. You're going to see as soon as I click it, it's opening it. So when it caches that information, it allows it to open up a lot faster. So there's one thing. The next, of course, we need to talk about Bluebeam's graphics and things like that, or excuse me, the sheer size of the document itself. There are a couple of things that you can do in terms of reducing that file size. to maybe take down some of the metadata or the content that you're looking at because you may not need that depth of data. Or of course, just trying to make it easier to send around. The other way I would say is going to be actually a great idea to go into a future presentation with this is to go into the settings of Revu in terms of the rendering engine, the rendering mode, and different things like that. So that's actually a pretty good idea. I think we might actually go into like the resolution, the print DPI, things like that on another presentation. I think that would be very good. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Definitely appreciate the feedback. I did get a question saying I came in late. Will the recording be available? And I can go ahead and answer that. Yes, there will be a recording available later on today that will be available for reference on our website as well as our YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed, I would recommend subscribing and turning on the notifications so you know exactly when it is ready, but there will be a recording available.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, thank you all so much for joining us. I did just include a link here to download if you guys are wanting to try some of these tips or wanting to try some of these exercises yourselves. Feel free to navigate to topconsolutions.com/Bluebeam Revu. There you'll find a free download, a free 30-day trial of Bluebeam Revu for you guys to kind of try out, go through the document, compare and overlay, any things like that. I did put up our YouTube channel here because that is where we do have those tips and tricks that Diana and I talked about at the beginning of the webinar. So if you guys are working your way through Bluebeam Revu, trying to learn more, of course, keep an eye out for these cold brew and review videos. But I also advise you to navigate over to the YouTube page and check out some of those review tips and tricks videos. We have some on forms, smart markup creation, the takeoff tools. There's a lot of different kind of focused videos there that are maybe 10 minutes to 15 minutes long. So quite easy to digest and kind of watch as you need to.
David, where'd you go? We can't see you.
Oh, you can't see me? Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. There it is. You keep those covers on your webcam and they're great until you forget that it's there.
No, it's fine. It's like when you're on mute and you didn't know you were on mute.
Oh, I
I
do
did
that all
just
the time.
I did just want to call out really quickly. Someone had asked if we have follow-up questions, can we email you? Absolutely. Please do
Absolutely.
email us. We have our general email info@topconsolutions.com that is
Oh,
closely
didn't forget that.
monitored. So definitely please do email us with any questions you might have. So definitely wanted to call that out. We'll follow up with any of you that still had any questions. That's it for me. I am so happy that all of you could join us today, and I am excited to see you all on the next one. So thank you to David for a great presentation, and this recording will be available later this afternoon. All right. Thank
All
you.
right.